In this video tutorial we're going to look at how we can restore a negative scan to its former glory. There's lots we've got to deal with here, and the original negative had really been through the walls with lots of dust spots and scratches on it, terribly underexposed, but we can sort that all out. So during the scanning process on a flatbed scanner, the colours of the negative have actually been inverted, so we've got a nice positive image to start with. So one of the first things I want to deal with is the fact that the horizon line in the image isn't at all level. It was obviously placed on the scanner in a rather haphazard way, so we've got a very unlevel horizon line. Fortunately, Photoshop Elements has a tool for dealing with that, and that is the straighten tool, which we can choose from the toolbar. Now in the canvas options up here, I want to make sure that original size is selected so that Elements actually doesn't do any automatic cropping, because we're going to manually crop this after straightening the horizon. So to use the tool, I'll simply locate my pointer on the horizon line at the left side of the image. I'll click and hold and simply drag across the image, keeping the straighten line level with the existing horizon. Now when I release my mouse button, Elements will rotate the image to the required amount to make the horizon line level. Now obviously, because of the degree of the image rotation, we're left with some plain white areas of canvas which we actually need to get rid of, and we'll do that with the crop tool. I'm simply going to drag a crop box around the entire image, then I'm going to use these handles around the size just to drag these in slightly to get rid of the majority of these white areas. Now we're actually going to be doing quite a lot of cloning on this image later, so it doesn't really matter if we have small white areas remaining. Don't want to lose too much of the image area itself, so I think somewhere around there will do us fine. Once you're happy with that, we can simply click the commit tick down at the bottom right here. So now we actually want to start to clean the image up rather a lot. Now to help us with this, I first want to make a small levels adjustment so it makes things a bit brighter and more easy to see. We can do that via enhance and adjust lighting, and we'll choose levels from the menu there. Just make sure that this preview box is checked so we can actually check the effect on the image in the background itself. All I'm going to do at this stage is grab the white point slider and just drag it up towards the start of the histogram a little, just to brighten things up a bit. As I said, we are going to be making lots of levels, selective levels adjustments to the image later on, but brightening it just this bit will make it a little easier to work with. So as I said, we're actually going to be manually cloning out all of these tiny spots and scratches, simply because it's the absolute best way to do it. We do actually have a filter within Elements for dealing with very small spots and scratches, and we can find that via filter, noise, dust and scratches. Now the one thing I actually would say about this filter is you need to treat it with respect, because it can be a little global and heavy-handed, to say the least. So we're just going to use this to deal with the very smallest spots and damage in the image. Now to use the filter, I want to set the threshold to 0 to start off with, and you can see, I'll exaggerate this just so you can see what's going on. If I increase the value of the radius slider, all those dust spots that we don't want begin to disappear. The disadvantage of this filter, if it's used in a too heavy-handed way, is that it smooths the image too much and actually destroys a lot of the detail along the way. So I wouldn't recommend using this as a simple fix for the image at all. It's really just to deal with the very minor blemishes, so we don't destroy the original image too much. So I'll increase this radius slider to around about 3, just so these tiniest dust spots start to disappear. But you'll notice at the same time that it's actually smoothed out the image globally, and we've actually lost quite a lot of the image grain there. So this is where the threshold slider comes into play, and by increasing the threshold slider I can actually start to reintroduce a little of the original image grain while still disguising the very smallest dust spots in the image. If I click and hold on this image, that's the before, and with the after, you can see we're losing these tiny spots, but we're maintaining the majority of the original image grain and noise. So when we've got to that stage, we can simply click OK to apply that filter. So now we've got that far, we're actually going to come back in the next part of the tutorial and do some manual cloning to get rid of the bigger spots and scratches.